Hello, hello. It is Chrissy Gothrow, your storytelling coach. I am live on my Facebook page, but I'm also trying to make sure that my StreamYard is working. And so give me just a moment here to get some things going. I'm doing this from my house. I just planned it on yesterday because I'm like, look, it's so much that I need to get out to people, and so I'm just gonna have to do it, right? Stop trying to plan and just get it done, because sometimes we get stuck in the planning and the planning and the planning and we never get it done. And so I have decided to just start giving everyone what they need, because there are some people out there that I know needs exactly what it is that I want to share today. If you saw in the description, it says right method to PTSD. I'm going to get into that, give you more information on it so that you can have a better understanding of what I mean by those letters, PTSD, that acronym. It is so impactful, so dynamic, and so I'm not going to go too far into it, but I'm going to give you a little bit of where I'm going with it and how it's been beneficial to my life. So I'm going to wait for a couple of people to get on, and we'll move on from there. Let's see here. Hi, Sonia. How are you? I can see Miss Sonia is on. And so I'm going to give about 2 minutes maybe for some other people to get on. And so once I get a couple of people on here, I'll just go ahead and jump right into it and just start pouring out this really, really juicy information that people need in their life today. That's what I feel anyways. I feel like so many people can benefit from it, because this has literally saved my life on so many occasions. So I know that it's not just for me to keep it to myself. Miss Sonia say you're doing great. That is awesome. There's so much going on right now. And so to hear somebody else saying that they're doing great, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. Hi, Brenda. How are you? Thank you for jumping on. I plan on giving y'all some really good stuff. So I'm so happy to have you. I want to tell you this too. If you know, or if you've ever thought about writing a book, I'm going to need you to get pencil and paper, or pen and paper. Not really the notes on your phone. That may not be good enough. Pencil and paper, because I want you to take down a few things that I know will get you going. It'll start, kind of helping you clear out some ideas and things like that. So, hey, Ann, how are you? Pen and paper, pen and paper. You definitely gonna need some pen and paper. I'm glowing, see you. I'm glowing? Well, thank you there. Thank you, Miss Sonia. What'd you say, see me in a few weeks? Don't do that. I'm not ready. I'm not trying to go down. Not right now. Let me finish enjoying this time. So let's see who else we have on. Did Miss Brenda, I didn't see if Miss Brenda said hi or not. Let me give her a wave. And so make sure, y'all, you have the pencil and the paper. And at the top, I want you to put what's already in the description, right method to PTSD. And then we're going to go into what it all means. Oh, you laughing now, because we are not ready for that. I am not. That's another video. That is another video, let me tell you. And so I don't want to take too long, so I'm just going to go ahead and start. Share, invite some people on, especially if you have some friends that have suffered trauma, abandonment, any type of abuse. It doesn't matter if it's been something recent in their lives, if it's been something, they've been dealing with for years, if maybe it was something that happened to them as a child. If you know that there are some people you're connected to that are having some issues like that, or they've had to kind of cope with things like that, invite them on, share, because this information I'm giving is not just so you can write, but so you can learn some strategies or some methods to kind of get out that stuff that holds you back. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of what brought me to this place. And so I'll give you like a short story and then let you know, or give you more information as to why the title is what it is and why I believe it to be such a really great asset to my life and something that I want to share. I see some other people jumped on, but I can't tell who they are. And so, hi, I'm glad you joined me. Make sure you get pencil and paper and share. Hi, Rosetta. So, pencil, paper, and share. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and start off with a really short story so that you understand why I am where I am with this title. Oh, you love my hair? Thank you. I braided it myself. I found the 7 hours of my day to do it. Don't know where they came from. The Lord just manifested them and I got my hair done. And so with this story that brings me to the caption that you saw, right methods of PTSD. I have so many stories, but there is one that I want to share with you so that I can explain to you how this helped me and how I know that it'll help you. And so as a young girl, I want to say maybe starting about 4th or 5th grade, when we start like really coming into ourselves and we're making friends, we kind of get into those preteen ages. I wasn't developing like some of my other friends. I was darker than them. I had pretty hair, but pretty hair wasn't in. And so that wasn't getting me any cool points. And I was bullied like almost every day. Like every day I was going through some type of bullying. Kids would pull my hair. They would take my buttocks out. They would, like just rearrange the ponytails my mom would put in my hair. I have a scar here, if y'all can see it, on the side of my face. And it was from pulling an iron down when I was about maybe 18 months. And the iron fell on my face like this, and it like took all my skin off. And so this burn that is now here, at one time, because my face was smaller, it was like my whole cheek. And so they would tease me for that. Now I'm Scarface. So not only am I extra dark and chocolate, didn't know that was a good thing at the time, but I was extra dark. I had hair that was different. My mom was just different than the kids' parents that I knew. I had this scar on my face. I think it was just like, and then I was really skinny. And so it was like an accumulation of things that made me different. And so instead of me being able to embrace it and other kids embracing it, they bullied me. And so that went on for years. Eventually, I kind of turned into like a little hermit crab. I started covering myself up. I didn't join any sports or anything like that. And it made me bitter. It made me resentful of certain things. And you know how you just start to spiral, right? You start to spiral and you start getting into all kinds of things because you're trying to find a way out. Well, middle school, I started writing. I never knew until I was an adult that writing is what helped me cope. At the time, I wasn't doing it wasn't like good writing. It was tagging, y'all. Like I was literally tagging the middle school. It was so bad by my 8th grade year, they had put me out of school. Because of graffiti, because I was writing on everything I could get my hands on. The desks I sat on in the classrooms, the bleachers in the gym, the lockers in the locker room, wherever I was, I had a Sharpie, and I'm gonna let it be known that I was here. It was bad. But again, didn't know that the writing is what was helping me get out those emotions, helping me kind of work through all of what I was going through. So fast forward, right? So many things transpire, but I fast forward, and into adulthood, I experienced bullying again on another level, y'all, because it's like adult time now. Like, really? Big people bully people? Aren't we too grown for this? No. Okay? Some bullies don't grow out of it, let me tell you. If you were a child bully, you're an adult bully. It just is what it is. If Jesus don't come deliver them, or they don't get the help they need, they continue with the bullying. Now, when I was bullied as an adult, it wasn't for the same things, but it wasn't for my color, and it wasn't about my size, and it wasn't about the scar on my face, but it was geared towards my differences. It was because I was different that they pulled out those differences and highlighted them as negative things. And so I kind of found myself going back into that shell. I started to suffer with anxiety. I would lose sleep. I would lose time in my day. Throughout the day, I'm thinking about what they're thinking about me, what they're going to say about me, who they're, what they're talking about. Like, all of these thoughts would like take away my time that I should have been pouring into my purpose or my children or my marriage. But instead, the bullying had caused me to bring up all those old emotions, and I started to suffer with anxiety. And it got so bad that I got to that one day of like, I'm going to say a depressed state, but I wasn't like diagnosed with depression or anything like that. But I've heard people talk about depression, and so I'll say it was very similar to some of the stories I've heard of people who suffer with depression. And it was a really dark day. It only lasted a day for me, thank God, but it was a really dark day. And I've given you all of that story to let you know that the one thing that I believe that helped me not to go over the side, not to back out of my destiny, not to, the one thing that helped me to cope was writing. And I know that they use it in therapy, but the entire time, almost like since I could remember, I would write things down, because you get to that point where you have no one to tell. And if you tell them, how are they going to help you? Like, are you going to just be rehearsing what you're going through? And how does that help you? Right? Or you'll get that you should pray about it thing, because I had a lot of that. Oh, you should pray about it, and give me some scriptures to go with it. Okay, but that's not helping. It did not stop my anxiety. It did not change my thoughts. It did not take away that dark day, right? And then one day I realized that I had been writing books according to the situations that were going on in my life. And then God revealed to me, all of those things that you had been suffering through, and all of those things that you had been talking to me about because you couldn't talk to anybody else about, but you wrote about, those were the necessary strategies or methods that I needed you to put in place to get them off your mind onto the paper, to rewrite your narrative, to rewrite your story, to build up your confidence. I'm telling y'all, that is why I have now given it all a name, and it has put that shh in a book. I don't mean the curse word, even though I know that for most people, when they go through things that is trauma, when they go through things that causes them to feel that anxiety and to be, depressed and things like that, that is a word, that's a term that they use. It's, it's BS, or, they use the curse word, but that's not what I mean. My shh, or the S in PTSD, is the things that we have been quiet about, the things that we keep secret, the things that we feel like we can't tell people about, right? Those are the things you can turn into a story or some form or platform for others without really telling your business. I have a book that is geared around bullying. It's for the victim, and it's also for the bully, but my story isn't in there. You don't have people's names. You don't have my situations. You don't have, that dark day that I just shared with you. I just shared that with you, but it's not in my book. But I want you to know that there is a way to write, to tell your story without telling your business, and getting the relief that you need, getting out all of those emotions, those things that you want to share with people, but you don't really want to share with people. It's a way to do it. All right. And so I gave that short story of mine to let you know that's why I'm calling this what I'm calling it. And it is real, y'all. Like, it is real. I am going on book 5, and no lie, my books have come from personal situations that have brought me, every one of them brought me to a place where I had to check myself, check my emotions, check my thoughts, like stand back and ask myself, like, are you really gonna let this get you down? And what are you gonna do about it? And when I got to that place, that's when I realized there's a story in it. And it's for somebody else. And nothing that we go through is for us. It's not just about us. And so now is when I need you to have that paper and pencil out. And I want you to be focused too. Like you can't like pay attention to this and then watch TV and then check your text, and then I need you to like really think about what I'm saying. If you know that there is something that causes you anxiety, if you know there is something that's causing you to be depressed, to feel, emotionally upset, if there's something that's causing you to lose sleep at night, if you're thinking about it all day long and you can't get it off your mind, I want you to know that this is still for you, even if you haven't gotten all the way to I want to write a book. If there's just something stressing you out, this is for you. And so you need that pen and paper. At the top of your paper right now, I want you to write what's in the description, right method for PTSD. And then underneath PTSD, I want you to put that shh in a book. Do not write the curse word, y'all, because I just told you it ain't about the curse word. It's about the stuff you can't tell. All right, but I need you to write that because I want you to see it before we start going into it. Now, I ain't going to give y'all all of my good stuff, but I'm going to give you a lot of what I believe you need to like just start you on that journey of healing, to help you cope with the things that you may still be going through, and also to change your mindset about focusing just on what you have to deal with and start changing your mind and focusing on what others are dealing with and how you can help them. So let's start with, and I wrote this like an outline. So if you want to do it like an outline, that's fine with me. I'm a teacher. It's just in me to do things like this. But you have that title. I want you to go ahead and write A. And your first topic is going to be, it starts with your story. Because it is going to start with your story. Not just any story, but the one that touches you the most. Think about that one thing, and I'm going to be quiet for every bit about 10 or 15 seconds for you to choose that one thing that causes you anxiety. That one thing that maybe it doesn't cause you anxiety right now. Maybe you've overcome it. Maybe God has delivered you from it. Maybe you went to counseling or whatever, happened and you're not going through it anymore. What was that one thing? If it's not still a thing, what was that one thing? And write that down. Hi, Megan. So after you've written down that one thing, right? You have that one thing. If it was domestic violence, if it was abandonment, if it was any type of abuse, whatever it is, you wrote it down. I want you to write it right underneath A, where it starts with your story. And now underneath that, I want you to write the number 1 and write feelings by it. So you have number 1 and then feelings by it. Once you have feelings, where your A and your B is, I want you to fill them in. So your A, and I'm not sure if y'all know how to go through an outline. I don't really have like time to teach you how to write an outline, but if you're taking notes, that's good enough for me. You have feelings and you have A. What feelings are you feeling, or what feelings were you feeling? If you're currently feeling them, just list them out. If you know you were feeling them and you, like I said, you've been delivered, still just list them out. What were the things you went through? Was it depression? Was it anxiety? Were you stressed? Were you losing sleep? Were you sad all the time? Let that be what your A is. And then we're also going to think about B, because your B is going to be those victorious moments. Your B is going to be when you were happy, when you were excited, when you got the victory, when you were delivered, when you finally came out of that relationship, when when you realized what it was that was holding you back, or whatever it was that you feel like made you feel different or opposite from your feelings that you put down in A. Let that be your B. And so for A, you should have all of the negative feelings that you felt. And then for B, all of the positive feelings. Let's just say you are that person that have not yet experienced the positive feelings from that situation that you put down for one. What feelings do you want to feel? What would you like to write down? What place are you trying to get to? Put those feelings down. You're trying to come out of depression, you need freedom, you need liberation, put that down. You tired of being sad, you want to have joy some days, write it down. Because it doesn't matter, y'all, if you are in it or if you were in it. I'm telling you, put in all of the things that you can't get out and tell people the details. Putting it down, whew, that's a godsend, let me tell you. Now we're going to move on to 2, because I'm not going to keep y'all on here long. So we're going to move on to 2. Don't mind my background. My kids are, y'all know what it's like to have kids. I'm hoping y'all know. So number 2 is going to be strategies. I want you to write down strategies. Write down strategies, and I want you to put used and using. So strategies, used, and using. All right, so that's going to be your 2. And then for A, I want you to list out strategies that you either used or that you're using. And so, for example, you would put counseling, prayer, writing, biking. Maybe you're working out now. Maybe you meditate. Whatever strategy you are currently using to help you cope, or whatever strategy you used to help you overcome, I want you to put that underneath number 2 and let it be your A. If I'm going too fast, y'all can always go back, because I'm telling y'all by the end of this, some revelation gonna come, because I know this is what God has been helping me, how God has been helping me through my life, and so I know it's for somebody. Now for B, I want you to write down what you haven't been doing. Nothing at all. Like, I'm just coping. I don't have any strategies, all right? Or I just lay in my bed and think about it all night, because that's not an actual action. Like, that's not a strategy or method you put in place. You're just thinking about it all the time. Maybe you one of them people that's just like, I have faith in God. I'm believing God that He's going to deliver me from. You can believe God that He's going to deliver you from, because He is more than capable. But with faith comes action. And so for B, you're not listing the actual actions you put in place. You're going to just list what you've been doing, or what you were doing at the time if you've been delivered. What were you doing that was really you not doing? So were you in a place of just thinking? Were you in that place of just letting the days just go by and letting it happen to you and not speaking up and just being quiet and being passive and say, I'm believing God? I want you to put down whatever that inaction was. Put that down for B. 3, I want you to put compelled to share. Compelled to share. And then I want you to put out to the side, yes or no. Have you been compelled to share that story that you know has been... I don't know if y'all heard that. But I'm just go ahead and go back to what I was talking about. Have you felt compelled to share your story? And so for A, you're going to put, it's what God says do. So you shared your story because you know God wants you to share it. You know that you went through it because somebody else needs it. You have been already journaling or writing it down or trying to start a book because you know God wants you to get it out. That's your A, because you know God, like, this is what God wants me to do. Just write that down. It's what God wants me to do. And put out to the side, yes or no. Like, do you feel compelled to share because it's what God told you to do? And be honest. Be honest. Because if it's no, it's okay that it's no. If you don't feel like God told you to do it, ain't nothing wrong with that. Because sometimes God didn't tell us to do it. I'm just saying. So put no if it's no. For B, you fear for others. Yes or no? Do you feel compelled to share your story or what you went through because somebody else is going through it and you really want to help them out? So it ain't even got nothing to do with if God told you. You just thinking, man, like I know what it's like to be in a relationship and be under somebody else's control. I know what it's like not to be able to think for myself. Oh my God, if I can just help another woman. Oh my God, if I can just give a teenager some insight because I've been there. Whatever the situation, even if it's childhood trauma, y'all, even if it's childhood trauma, is there a group of kids or is there a girl or a boy that you feel like you can share your story with because you know you want their lives to change? And then C, you just want fame and funds. You just know your story gonna make you some money. If you feel like, hey, you was in the drug game and you got out, you know, some miracles, some miraculous things happen and you didn't escape, then you know you got some juice. You've been dealing with some folks that you know if you put a book out there, you gonna make some money. Hey, just be honest. I'm just saying. Some people feel compelled to tell their stories because they know they got some good stories. And they know it's gonna make some money. Some people just got stories like that. If that's you, again, just be honest. Put yes or no. If that's you, it's okay. No judgment here. It's no judgment. Because you got to be honest with yourself. So you're either in A, God told you you needed to share your story. That's why you feel compelled to do it. You're B, you fear for others. You want to help them. That's why you want to do it. Or you're C, I just want my money. Like, let me just tell my story because I know it's good and give me some money for it. All right? Find yourself. Then we're going to go ahead and move to our next topic. So I want you to, I'm going to give you like 10 seconds. Just take that all in. So if you are actually taking notes, if you actually wrote some stuff down, just take that all in. Think about what you're thinking about. This is what I went through. This is how I feel about it. These are the moves I've been making or not making. These are the people I want to help or not help. Take all that in. Think about it. I'm going to pause for just a second. And now we're going to move down to your next topic. I want you to write who, how, and the expectation. Who, how, and the expectation. So if at the very top of your page you already have the A and you've written it in outline form, then this is going to be your second part of your section. This is going to be your second session. And so we're going to break it down again like we just went through the first part. But the title of this one is going to be who, how, and expectation. And so for your number one, for your first one, I want you to put who, and then in parentheses beside it, who have you shared with? So if you're thinking about your story and you're thinking about and how they made you feel, maybe it's overcoming, maybe you're still dealing with it. And you know what methods or strategies you've used, or you know which ones you're currently using, or maybe you're using none. You know already who you want to, why you want to share it. You either want to share it because God told you to, you want to share it because you want to help somebody. But I'm going to go ahead and say that you've already shared it or felt like you wanted to share it. And so that's why I want by that who for you to put who have you shared with. And let's say that you haven't shared, it's okay. Because in these next couple of parts, it's going to get you thinking about who might you want to share with. Because regardless if we want to keep things secret or not, the emotions that we go through, the things that we feel must be dealt with. And so you can't have inaction. You can't just lay and think. You can't just pray and not do. You actually have to put action towards it. Like you got to do something. And sharing is a big part of it. And so where you don't want to tell people your business and you don't want to sit down and talk to a counselor and you don't want to talk to your pastor, that's okay. But you still have to find a way to work that stuff out. All right? It's just how we set up. All right, so if you have who and who have you shared with, I want underneath that you to write A, shared with family already. Just put yes or no. So your A, shared with family already, yes or no. B, you speak at events and workshops, you vocal about it. You already talking about it. Already. I'm already there. And if you're not, just put no. I'm already there. Like, I have talked to people about bullying. I have talked to people about virginity. I'm trying to think of what I wrote my books about. I've talked to people about parenting. I've talked to people about deliverance. Like, there's a book. There's gonna be a book for everything in my life. Let me just tell y'all. I'm saying you can put that in a book, because that is real life for me. Real life. One time I put up a post that said, you can't hold me accountable for something that I publish, or just be warned if you say something around me or something happens that it might end up in a book. That's true. I'm just saying, writers who publish books, we tend to use stuff that go on. Things that people say, situations, like all that goes down on paper. I'm just saying. Okay? But it's okay, because it's a way to get out what we need to get out, to cope, or whatever you want to call it. All right? So let's just say you're B, yes or no. You speaking at events, you already doing workshops, you good. You can talk about it. Yes or no. And then C, if you're a C, it's fine. You don't talk to anyone. You might just talk to God sometimes. Or you might have one or two friends you talk to. So when I say talk to, I mean that story, no matter how deep and dark it is, who have you told about it? Where are you? Are you speaking at events? Are you talking to God about it in your sleep? Which means you probably ain't talking to God about it at all. Let's just be real. Some things we go through in life, we don't want nobody to know. And we definitely ain't going to go pray to God about it. If anything, we like, Lord, please don't let nobody find out I did that. Oh, Lord, hallelujah. Lord, don't let nobody find out. You can't keep secrets from God. So, you got to deal with it, y'all. So if you're in C, no one, God, or one or two close friends, just put yes or no. That's where you are. That's the who. That's the who that you share with already. All right. Now your number 2 is how. How have you been sharing? How have you been sharing? Have you been writing it down in a journal, or writing down on some paper, or writing, like you've actually started writing a book, wherever you are? Because this is going to help you get to whatever your end result is, even if it's just, I just want to be free from this, okay? That's A, writing in a journal. B, you talking over the phone. So you might pick up the phone and call your mama sometime, because you might still be going through it. Maybe it rises up in you every now and then, and there's that one person that you feel safe to console, and so you call them on the phone. So you ain't writing. It's not public. But you call them on the phone because you maybe just need to hear a voice, or, you can vocally talk about it though. Social media posts. So you're not personally journaling, you're not keeping it so you can read it later. You're not calling anybody on the phone, but you might put out a dope post on Facebook or Instagram, and it's all of your business in one, but it ain't your business. Like, you didn't put on there like something real deep about, abandonment, like, growing up in a single home or whatever. But nobody knows that it's really coming from a personal place. If that's you, it's okay. But let that be a C. And then D, prayer. So how have you been sharing? You could be journaling. You could be just talking over the phone. You call somebody. And there's a reason why these are listed the way they are. Social media posts, maybe you've just been sharing on social media. You can hide behind social media. We all know that. You can hide behind that. And then prayer. That means no one knows. Literally just you and God. And you haven't written it down, so you haven't really gotten it out. Because you might pray one of them silent prayers. So you really ain't even use words. I'm gonna let that sit there. All right, so I'll say I'm bringing this to a close, y'all. I'm bringing this to a close. Take all of it in. It's a process. Do y'all feel like y'all in a counseling session? I should have been a counselor. I could be a writing counselor. Is that a thing? I don't know if it's a thing. Anyway, let me move on. Last one, expectations. That's our number 3, expectations. And beside expectations, I want you to write expectations for future impact. Expectations for future impact. And your A is going to be, who do you desire to share it with? So we already talked about who you might have or might not have shared it with. Who do you desire to share it with? Is there some people or some person that you want to share it with? Let that be your A. How do you see yourself sharing it? And so since you have already written down some stuff about how you might have already been sharing it or not, how do you see yourself sharing it? So if you're in that place where you have just been praying and nobody knows, but you see yourself trying to help someone, then how do you see yourself helping them? And I ask this question, and I ask this question to my clients, because sometimes you may not want to put it in a book, but you may want to do a podcast. You may not want to do a podcast, but you may want to just write about it every day for people to know the message. And so you might be a blogger. And so there's a different way to communicate what you're trying to get out and what your message is. But it may not always end up in a book. And so that's why I ask those questions. So how do you see yourself sharing it? And then the last one, what is your expectation or end all with the story? And so that's to sum everything up. We have identified what the story is. We have identified how we really feel about it. And we have started to break it down from there. How we feel about it, what we doing about it. And then let's say it's past tense, because maybe you've been through it already. What you felt about it and what you did about it. And so bringing it to a close, what's your expectation for, what's your end all for it? Where do you see it going? Who do you see yourself sharing it with, and how? That is what the foundation is for putting that shh in a book. There is a way, let's just say your end all is putting it in a book. There is a way to craft your message from whatever you're going through or gone through or have gone through. Because let me tell you, a message is not always from a place of deliverance. Now, when I say that, let me explain. You can give a message to someone, even if you're in that place, like you're still going through it. It's just not going to be a message of deliverance because you haven't been delivered. But say you're still going through it and you've learned patience. Say you're still going through it and you've learned to be grateful and thankful for life or whatever. Say you're still going through it and you've begun to pray more, or you've begun to write more, or you know there's something good that happened while you're going through it. Oh well, you can craft that as a message and go from there. Now, if you are the overcomer, if you do have the victorious message, if you have come out, hey, that's a message too, right? So you may not be in that place where you're still going through it, and then there's something you want to share, but you already went through it, and you know there is somebody that you can help. That's what everything that we just went over, that's what this is for. Because it takes you from it just being up here to you really processing it, and then starting to think about how you can get it out, but then also how you can help somebody else. Because a lot of times we can't get past what we go through because we're so focused on us. We're so focused on us. How it's going to make me feel better. Whew, Lord, I just want a relief, Lord God. You know, I just want to be happier. You know, I just want to be free. All that's good, and God wants that for us. But who else are you thinking about? Because you can't just be thinking about yourself. And I'm getting ready to close out, but I'll share with you a really I'm gonna try to shorten it, but I'm sharing with you a quick story to let you know that whatever it is that you decide to do with your story is not just about you. And when you start focusing on it's not about you, then other things can transpire. And the message or whatever you decide to bring out for people will come with so much more impact, because you're not just thinking about yourself, but you are thinking about the receivers. So if you decide to put it in a book, you're not focused on, you know, just how you're feeling about it. Even though you're gonna get so many things out, but not telling your business. I'm telling y'all it's a way to do it. That's what I help people do. But you get it out with the end in mind. You get it out with the reader in mind. Oh my God, when they read this, it's gonna change their life. Maybe every day they wake up, you know, they're sad. This is a way that I, you know, kept my joy going through the situation. If all you're giving them is joy to go through until they get out, hey, there's an audience for that. There are some people that will receive that. And so don't think that any little thing that that, you know, seemed as a victory for you isn't big enough for somebody else, because it is. Let me just tell you. And so, quick story while I'm closing out. I was living in Jacksonville, Florida, and was engaged to be married, bought a house. We in marriage counseling, everything, the works, right? We doing it up, about to do it big, about to get married and everything. Well, some stuff went down, and I remember asking God, you know, if this is for me, just let me know it's for me. If it's not, find me a way out. And so there was an outside person that got involved, and I remember asking my fiance at the time, I said, do you want to be, you know, do you love them? Or do you love us? Do you want to be with us? Or do you want to be with them? And he said he didn't know. I was like, okay, I'm out. Now, that was the beginning of something great, y'all. The beginning. I ain't going to give y'all the detail. I'm just going to give y'all like quick. So that was the beginning of something great, because in that whole process, I began to seek God more, and I began to just like long to like want to learn more about him. Lord, I just want to know you, Father. I just want to, let me just get in your word. I'm trying to like throw myself into this whole Christianity thing, y'all. I'm like trying to get in there, like, God, just take all of me, Lord. Send me to ministry school, y'all. So that's what I started praying. Send me to ministry school. I want to go to a Bible college. Like, that's where I want to go, Lord. And so I start looking. Now, mind y'all, I'm living in Jacksonville, Florida, like really like on the outskirts, like St. Mary's, Georgia. And so I moved out of the house that we bought, moved down the street to my friend's house. I'm seeking out a ministry school. I'm seeking out a Bible college. I'm like, Lord, where are you going to send me? Like, I got to go. Couldn't find any local ones. I was going to go to Pensacola Bible College. They wouldn't take me because I already had a son, and so they wouldn't take anyone with a child. And I had some cousins that lived up north, and I was like, well, maybe I can go live with them. Couldn't find a school and a job and a place to stay up there. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm just going to just wait on you. And so I stopped and I just stopped looking. And then one day I'm walking through my friend's kitchen, and I heard the Lord say, go home. Y'all ever heard somebody say, pump the brakes? What? Go where? Because you can't be saying go home. That is not the Lord. I'm going to go ahead and let that pass, because that was not Jesus. He is not telling me to go back to Louisiana. Lord, I've been gone from Louisiana for 6 years. You can't be telling me to go back. Y'all, this is why you cannot take any little thing in your life for granted. Because I'm telling y'all, when you get to the end, y'all going to be like, mouth open. Okay? So he like, go home. I'm like, nah, that can't be God. But I couldn't shake it. And so then I end up talking to my sister, and she's like, hey, I want you to come visit this church with me when you come home to visit. Now, she didn't know I was coming to stay. She just wanted me to come visit. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'll come visit. She didn't know I was coming to stay because I hadn't made up my mind. So fast forward, I come home, and then I go to the church and visit with her. And so, you know, regular church service, whatever. I'm like, Lord, if it's for me to be here, I'll be here. Now, granted, my sister was going there, y'all. It was a 45-minute drive from her house, which was a 45-minute drive for me too, because we weren't from the area of the church we were attending. And it was really odd for her to be going to church by herself. She said no family members wanted to go with her, which is why she invited me. I'm the duck, so I went. But I get there and I'm like, okay, Lord, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'll stay. I'm good. Well, find myself in the front. I done joined the church. I done got filled with the Holy Spirit. I'm like, ooh, okay, so Lord, I see you. I'm good. Well, I get in the truck same day, and my sister starts telling me, you know, they have a ministry school. It starts in September. You should go. And I was like, they got a ministry school? Whoop, whoop. Like, God done showed up. He done answered my prayers. I'm like, oh my God, like y'all, I'm thinking God has showed up. Like he knew I was looking for a ministry school. That's why he told me to come back home, because I got who on my mind right now? Me. Because I'm thinking God is answering my prayers. The Lord is coming through. Oh, he looking out. He's so faithful. That's what I'm thinking. But what I don't know is he got somebody else in mind. So where I'm thinking all of what I've gone through and these little bitty things that I'm focusing on are about me, God has something and someone else in mind. Go to ministry school. I'm in ministry school almost a whole year. It's a 2-year program, so I'm in there almost a whole year. And I had to go to counseling with one of my instructors. And so I'm sitting and I'm talking to my instructor, and we get through what all we're talking about. And then he asks, have you ever met my son? And I'm like, nah. Because at the time, I'm not trying to meet nobody. Like, I'm looking for Jesus. I ain't looking for your son. So I just disregard him even asking me that, y'all. I didn't even care. So then 6 months later, I go back for another counseling, same instructor. We finish our counseling. He was like, have you met my son yet? You still haven't met my son? I'm like, no, sir. Really? He was like, oh, I think y'all would be, a really good couple. Y'all, oh my God, I can just feel it from you. It'd be a good match. And he's just talking to me like, y'all, he scoping. And I'm just like, I ain't having it, Lord. I got blinders on. I only want Jesus. The Lord is blessing me right now. I don't know if he blessing me with a man. Like, that ain't where my mind at. Longer story shorter. One day he calls. I end up talking to his son. Fast forward, we're on the phone. We've been talking maybe about a month or two now. About 2 months now. We're talking on the phone. And I knew when we first started talking that he had been having health issues. And so he was going to dialysis. Now me, I'm like, what is dialysis? But I never thought to ask at first until some time had passed. And so one day we're talking about it, and I'm like, hey, why do you have to go there? What do they do? What's going on in your body? Because now we're like getting into like the deeper things of this, this friendship, because we weren't even really courting then. And so he starts to tell me what dialysis is for. It's your kidneys, when your kidneys fail, and da 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 da. Now, y'all, I'm like totally clueless with the whole anatomy thing, dialysis and all that. I don't know none of that. You can call me what you want to call me. I did not know. So I'm asking questions that maybe most people knew, but I didn't. And so when he gives me all the information, question might sound, a little dumb to y'all, but whatever. I was like, so how do you get off of dialysis? Like, how do you get your kidneys working? Like, what do you have to do? And he said, well, God can come in and perform a miracle and my kidneys can start working themselves, or I can get a donor. And I'm like, okay. So how you get a donor? Like, somebody got to die? You wait on somebody to die, then they donate the organs. And he was like, well, you can have a living donor. And I was like, oh, okay. Wait. So, like, somebody can give you a kidney? And he was like, yeah, you have two. And so you can live with one so you can donate the other. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I can give you one of mine. Now, just like I said it, I'm thinking, I kind of said it like that, I can give you one of mine, because in my mind I'm thinking it's that simple, because I never really had taken into account like all that it meant. In my mind, it's that simple. I'll just give you one of mine. On his end, he like, well, no, you can't just give somebody one. You gotta, take tests, and the tests gotta, you gotta be a match and all the, he's trying to give me all the technical stuff. And I'm just like, okay, so what I need to do to find out, all the technical stuff. And he's like, okay, well, I'll give you a number. Well, he gives me the number, but then I talked to his dad, and his dad's like, hey, you need to pray about that, because this is a really big thing. And I'm like, okay, I'll pray about it. Still, I'm like, I'm gonna just give you one. Well, I start going through the process, and maybe like after you do like blood pressure and stuff first, but so maybe like in the second or third stage, and there's a lot of stages. So second or third stage, one day I'm headed to go see him at his house, and I heard the Lord say, I know I gave everyone two, but I gave you 2 to give him 1. That solidified in me knowing what I had to do, right? I'm gonna bring this to a close, y'all. But I'm telling you, like, at the end, it's like, whew, you gotta know that the moves you make ain't just for you. So now I go through all of these tests, and I'm already knowing I ain't got no fear in my body, because I'm already knowing, well, God done set this up, must be for something else. So okay, I'm just be used. I'm gonna just be used. Everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. Every test came out the way it needed to come out. Not any of us doing anything specific. I didn't know these people. I didn't know the church. I didn't know the pastor. My sister invited me. Then she left me, y'all. Wait. Let me back up. Y'all, my sister left me before this even happened, okay? She invited me. We started ministry school, and before a year in, deuces, she leaves me. So now I'm at this church 45 minutes away from my house by myself. Well, me and my son. So I'm telling y'all, you start making them small moves, it ain't about you, even though I thought it was about me. It wasn't about me. Anyway, fast forward back. All of the tests come out the way they're supposed to come out. And we get that final call that says, hey, the test was good. We can schedule transplant. Now, I'm like, okay, good. Let me call them. Whole time, it's good. Like, it's supposed to happen this way. Never really took into account how deep that was. Never took into account the level that was on, right? Because to me, it was like, it's a small thing. It's not that big a deal. Y'all, it was a huge deal. But to me, it's not that big a deal. I mean, you need one. I got one. Now it's a match. You can have it. No big deal. Because to me, it seemed like a small thing. But do y'all know that that small thing to me, God had already put in place to save somebody's life. So what you need to know, and what I need you to get from that story, is that nothing you go through in life is too small that it can't be big enough for somebody else. Your little, well, I'm not all the way out, but I do know how to, be grateful. Well, you being grateful is a big deal to somebody else who wakes up complaining every day. So don't take your small victories for granted. And don't think that anything you do or not do is just about you, because it's not. Because God already has somebody else planted on the other end of what you're supposed to deliver. And if you don't come through, they might lose their life. I'm just saying, it might not be that extreme for you. But I had to think about recently that if I had decided to not come home, that could have delayed my now husband's life. That could have put him in, he could have lost his life. We don't know how that would have went down. I trust God that he would have kept him until I came, or kept him until somebody else showed up, because that's the faith that I have. But I don't know that that's the faith he had. He might have had that faith like, Lord, I need somebody right now. Like, I need you to come through right now, or I don't know what to do. The Lord was like, I got you. Because I got a girl that right now lives in St. Mary's, Georgia, out by Jacksonville, Florida, that's trying to find somewhere to go. And all I got to do is move her back home, put her in a church, put her in a ministry school to meet your daddy. I got it all planned out. I'm going to save your life through that one person. I'm going to save your life. The obedience of one person. So, when you're thinking about your story, and you're thinking about when you were neglected, when you're thinking about maybe it was a molestation, maybe it was some type of abuse, maybe, it was some trauma, something traumatic happened, you lost someone, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you've gone through it already and you found a way to get out. There's a message in it to help somebody else. And let's just say you are still in it. There's a message in it to help somebody else. And in all of that, it's going to help you too. My husband has been the most amazing blessing to me on so many levels. All I did was give him a kidney. He didn't marry me for the kidney. Yo, we were still friends when I decided I was giving him the kidney. We weren't even like dating yet. Matter of fact, the transplant, like we probably had been like together maybe 3-4 months or something. Like it was new. So there were no ties to it. I wasn't doing it for something. I was doing it out of obedience. So you got to know that when you have something that you're going through, it ain't for you. Get over yourself. Just get over yourself. Start focusing on the other person. If you are suffering with any kind of anxiety, you having stress, you feeling sad, whatever it is not for you. And when you take yourself out of the equation and you start focusing on how can my story give God glory and transform somebody else's life, you'll get it done. You'll figure out something. The deliverance will come. So, I know I had said I was going to make it short. My bad, y'all. I mean, I just like to talk. I do. I like to talk. But Miss Sandra said what's meant to be will be. Yes and no. Yes and no. Because sometimes what's meant to be don't be on time because people get involved. So it might meant to be, this year, and then our egos get involved, or we get off, we get confused, or other people get involved, or we get too busy. So many things transpire that we move from what was supposed to be this year will be next year, and it don't even turn out the same. I'm just saying. So I don't like to adopt that what's meant to be will be, because it may not be the same kind of being. So yeah, if it's meant to be, like for example, I do believe that God wanted to heal my husband. And I will not say that I don't believe that God would have healed him. But would he have received the kidney that God designed in me for him? Now, he probably would have received the kidney. So, yeah, kind of like being. But it wouldn't have been a good be on each side, because it would have been a kidney for somebody else. And then I wouldn't have played a part in it. And so I feel like I would have missed out on my blessings too. So that's, what kind of throws me off with the what's meant to be will be. But I think that's it. Ann says, I love your stories. Yeah, but they're not just to be loved, girl. They real life. These would be some real. And that ain't even it. Like, it's so many of them. But I'm so thankful for you all joining me. I do hope you took notes. I do hope that the things that I gave you blessed you. You were able to pull out some things that you have been holding in, and that you have some sense of where you want to go with what you have. And even if you don't want to go to a platform, say you don't want to put it in a book, you don't want to speak about it, that's okay too. But at least you know that there's an outlet for you. There's an outlet for you. And at least you know too that you can take the focus off of you and start focusing on someone else. So if you, if like I said, if you don't want a platform, that's good. But I do pray that you got something from it. But you cannot deny God. You can try, but in the end, what God wants will be the end result. Now that is true. In that sense, what's meant to be will be according to God. Oh yeah, because if I tell you to do something, you don't do it, somebody will do it. So yeah, I get that part. I do get that part. Yeah, when it comes to people, I think because I was thinking about the people, the being, when it comes to people, that's when I'm like, nah. But yeah, with God, oh yeah, of course. Of course, he gonna get in the earth when he need to get in the earth. If you don't do it, somebody gonna do it. I mean, he's just gonna find somebody that's willing. He said, I'm looking, searching for somebody that's willing, right? Somebody that's open, like, pick me, pick me. You raise your hand to be picked, I guarantee you, he gonna be like, all right, you next. Anyways, if you don't, want to take your message to a platform, like I said, I still pray that you have gotten something from this. You've gotten some freedom, or you just knowing that, there is a way out of it. And or if you are the person who wants a platform and you want to be able to craft a message from your story and you want to put it in a book, and the book can be, and that's something that I work with people on, because the book doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have, I don't do autobiographies at all. That's how I feel about autobiographies. I don't do autobiographies at all. If you want to do an autobiography, I'm sure I can find you somebody. But if you are soliciting my help for anything, I don't do autobiographies, because my thing is to learn how to tell your story without telling your business. There is freedom in being able to freely talk about everything and not have to worry about whose name you're going to drop, how they're going to feel about it. When people go back and research all your business you didn't put out there, anybody got time for that? There's a way to do it without everybody knowing the details, and there's so many platforms to use. And so I just had to come on here to let you know that whatever it is, whatever story it is that you have, is for someone else. And if you can just be free using what I just gave you, fine. If it brings you some freedom, give you ways to cope, praise God. But if you want to be able to put that story in a platform, you can talk to me. You can go to my business page. If you're already here, you can book now. We can talk about it. And I'm not just here, I'm on Instagram as well. But definitely, if you are thinking about taking your story and crafting a message and finding a platform to use, which could be, there's so many ways, especially in book form, because it doesn't have to be autobiography, like I said, and you need help, then I am here for that. So you can click book now, go schedule a call with me, free, and we can talk it out. You can tell me, you don't have to tell me all your details, but you can tell me what part of your story you want to share, and then we can just kind of work it out from there. But thank you again for jumping on here, listening to me, allowing me to share all this goodness I've been holding in, and I'm gonna come back again, but I do hope that it blessed you all. I will be signing off. See you, Sandra, Ann, Megan, Rosetta, Sonia, Brenda. See you all. Thank you again for being here to support. And if you jumped in and you didn't get the beginning, just go ahead and go to replay so that you can get, whatever you missed. And just be looking out for more information. I feel like there's some other stuff that I could share. And so if you have your notifications on and you see I'm going live, or you see I'm posting an event, please show up so that you can get this goodness. Because I'm telling you, y'all, it's in me, and I got to get it out, because I have nothing to do with it. It's all about other people. It's all about you. All about you. So again, I'm Christy Gothrow, your storytelling coach. If you need help telling your story without telling your business, hit that book now. Let's get on a 30-minute call and talk about it. I look forward to hearing from one of you. And please share this video once you are off. And follow me on YouTube. I forgot to mention that. Go follow me on YouTube. Subscribe. I got to figure out how to put this video on there. Subscribe to YouTube if you are there. All right. Love y'all. Bye.